Namaste बिटिया, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JV and Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine and Faculty of Homeopathic Science at Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. In this series of lectures, we are discussing about the hematological diseases, the different type of diseases that are common in the hematological system. In the last lecture, we were discussing about leukemia. So today we are going to continue with that leukemia. In the last lecture, we have discussed about leukemia, its classification, and we have also discussed about acute leukemia in details. The two types of acute leukemia, AML and ALL, the various signs and symptoms of leukemia, the investigations that could be done, and the management part. All these things we have discussed in the last lecture. Now, let's continue with the leukemia, and today we are going to discuss about the chronic leukemia. So let's start with chronic leukemia, but before that, let us have a quick review of what we have done. Today we are going to discuss only about leukemia and chronic leukemia. So what is leukemia? Leukemias, as we have discussed in the previous lecture, are the malignant disorders of the hematopoietic system, hematopoietic stem cell compartment, especially that are associated with the increased number of WBCs in the bone marrow. So there was increased number of WBCs in the bone marrow and the peripheral blood film. And these WBCs are actually abnormal. These are abnormal and they do not function properly. And therefore, these are not useful for us. In the epidemiology, we have studied that leukemia is affecting all type of population, different type of populations are getting affected by leukemia. And males are affected more in comparison to the females. The ratio varies according to the type of leukemia. So the ratio of leukemia, it is varying according to the type of leukemia that we have discussed earlier in case of acute leukemia in the last class. The etiology, exact etiology is basically unknown in the majority of the patients. And there are certain factors that are associated. The factors included ionizing radiations, different type of ionizing radiations. We have cytotoxic drugs. We also have retroviruses, genetic factors, and immunological factors. So there are certain factors that are associated with leukemia that included ionizing radiations. We have cytotoxic drugs, retroviruses, genetic and immunological factors. We have also discussed about the common symptoms of leukemia. Let us have a quick review. The leukemia symptoms, as we have discussed, that it is varying. There are a great variety of symptoms according to the different type of leukemia that we are getting. But there are some common symptoms which includes fevers and chills. There is also persistent fatigue. We are getting persistent fatigue. The patient is tired and there is great weakness. There is frequent or severe infections that we are going to see in the patients. The patient also complains of losing weight without even trying to lose weight. So there is weight loss, there is fever and chill, there is persistent fatigue and severe infections. The lymph node are swollen and enlarged with liver and spleen, and there is easy bleeding tendency. There is bleeding tendency, easy bleeding and bruising that you are going to observe. The patient also complains of recurrent nosebleeds with tiny red spot on the skin that is known as the petechial hemorrhages. There is excessive sweating that we are going to see typically at the night, and there are bone pains or tenderness. So we have the symptoms of fever and chill. There is persistent fatigue, weakness, frequent or severe infections, with losing weight without even trying to lose weight. There is swollen lymph nodes with enlarged liver and spleen. The patient complains of easy bruising and bleeding. There is also recurrent nosebleeds. The hemorrhagic manifestations includes nosebleeds. There are small petechial hemorrhages that are observed on the skin. There is excessive sweating, especially at night, and bone pains and tenderness. We have also done the classification of leukemias, that leukemia is divided into two parts. One is acute leukemia, the other one is the chronic leukemia. In acute leukemia, it is of two types: acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, and acute myeloid leukemia, that is AML. This we have discussed in the last lecture. And now we come to the chronic, the classification of the chronic leukemia. It is again of two types, CLL and CML. CLL means chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and chronic myeloid leukemia. So myeloid is same in both AML and CML, but in ALL we have acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and chronic we have chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Now, what happens in the CLL, in chronic lymphocytic leukemia? it is most common adult type of leukemia that you are going to see for years without needing any kind of treatment. Whereas the chronic myeloid leukemia, this mainly affects the adult population, and a person with CML may have no symptoms for months or years before entering the phase, and with which the leukemia cells may grow more quickly. The other type of leukemia, there are some rare type of leukemia that exist that includes the hairy cell leukemia. We have myelodysplastic syndrome and myeloproliferative disorders. Now let's start with the chronic myeloid leukemia today. What is chronic myeloid leukemia? As we have discussed, this is the type of disorder that is mainly affecting the adults. So it is a myeloproliferative stem cell disorder. So what is happening in chronic myeloid leukemia? There is a myeloproliferative disorder that is resulting in the proliferation of all type of hematopoietic lineage. So there is proliferation of all the types of hematopoietic lineage, and it is manifested predominantly as the granulocytic series. So there is myeloproliferative stem cell disorder resulting in proliferation of all the type of hematopoietic stem cells, and it is predominantly manifesting itself as the granulocyte series. Now, these are the clonal disorders of the pluripotent stem cells. So what is happening in this disorder is there are clonal disorders of the pluripotent stem cells. Pluripotent means that are capable of forming all different type of cell lineages. There is a normal blood cell production. It is completely replaced by the leukemic cells. So in this chronic myeloid leukemia, the normal blood cell production is completely replaced by the leukemic cells. There is maturation of the cells that precedes fairly normal. So normal blood cell, it is completely replaced by the leukemic cells, and there is maturation of the cells that fairly precedes normally. Now, age incidence. CML is most commonly seen between the age group of 30 and 80 years of age, with a peak incidence of around 55 years of age. Patients with CML, chronic myeloid leukemia, have a chromosomal abnormality that is known as the Philadelphia chromosome. So in case of CML, we are going to see Philadelphia chromosome, that is the shortened end of the 22nd chromosome. Next, we come to the CML phases. There are three phases of the CML, chronic myeloid leukemia. One is the chronic phase, the second is the accelerated phase, and the third one is the blast crisis. So in the chronic phase, there is disease, it is responsive to the treatment and is easily controlled. So in the chronic phase, the disease is easily responsive to the treatment and it is easily controlled. But in the accelerated phase, what is happening is the disease control becomes difficult. And the third phase is the blast crisis, in which the blast is happening. And in this particular type of chronic leukemia, CML, the disease is transforming into the acute phase of leukemia, either myeloid or the lymphoblastic series. Myeloid, 70% of the cases convert into myeloid series, whereas 30% into the lymphoblastic acute phase. So we have chronic phase, we have accelerated phase, and we have the blast phase. Now, what are the clinical features? The clinical features are non-specific. Non-specific features includes the weight loss. There will be weight loss, fatigue, malaise, and excessive perspiration. So in the clinical phase, you are going to see non-specific features like loss of weight. There will be loss of weight. There will be fatigue. Patient will be tired. There will be weight loss. The malaise and excessive perspiration will be there. There will be splenomegaly, bleeding from the gums, anemia, and bone pain. So non-specific features include loss of weight, fatigue, malaise, and excessive perspiration. There will be splenomegaly and bleeding of the gums, anemia, and bone pains. Bone pains are due to the extension of hemopoiesis through the long bones. Now, what are the various investigations that could be done in case of CML? In case of CML, the peripheral blood film will show WBC count, that is 20 to 300 into 10 raised to power 9 per liter. So WBC count is so much increased, 20 to 300 into 10 raised to power 9 per liter, with excessive number of neutrophils, myelocytes, and blast cells. So we will have excessive number of neutrophils. There will be more myelocytes and the blast cells that you are going to see. There will also be basophilia and eosinophilia with the predominance of thrombocytosis. So we are also going to observe basophilia, eosinophilia, and there is predominance of the thrombocytosis. The bone marrow is hypercellular. So there will be hypercellular bone marrow with neutrophil alkaline phosphatase that is low. It is useful in excluding reactive neutrophilia. So the peripheral blood film will show 20 to 300 into 10 raised to power 9 per liter with excess of neutrophils, myelocytes, and blast cells. The basophilia and eosinophilia are prominent with thrombocytosis. There is bone marrow that is hypercellular. There will be neutrophil alkaline phosphatase that is low, and it is useful in excluding reactive neutrophilia. The treatment of the CML phases consists of interferon alpha. So we are providing interferon alpha to the patient, hydroxylurea. Bone marrow transplant can be done, and imitinib, nilotinib, and dasatinib are the acceptable frontline therapies that can be given in case of CML. So in the treatment part, we are giving interferon alpha, there is hydroxylurea, bone marrow transplantation, and imatinib, nilotinib, and dasatinib are all acceptable frontline therapies. So this is all about CML. Now we come to the CLL, that is chronic lymphocytic leukemia. So what is chronic lymphocytic leukemia? Chronic lymphocytic leukemia results from the neoplastic or clonal proliferation of the cells of the mature committed B lymphocytes. So what is happening in chronic lymphocytic leukemia? It is resulting from the neoplastic or clonal proliferation of the mature committed B lymphocytes that are present in the presence of persistent lymphocytosis that is more than greater than 10 into 10 raised to power 9 per liter, and lymphoid infiltration of the bone marrow of at least 40%. Here the B lymphocytes fail to respond to the antigen by transformation and antibody formation. So what is happening in CLL? There are neoplastic clonal proliferation of the mature committed B lymphocytes. So B lymphocytes are involved in the CLL, and there is presence of persistent lymphocytosis with more than 10 into 10 raised to power 9 per liter of the lymphoid infiltration of bone marrow of at least 40% cases. Here the B lymphocytes fails to respond to antigen. So the B lymphocytes are not responding to the antigen, and by transformation of antibody formation. It is the most common variety of leukemia and is accounting for 30% of the cases. CLL is accounting for around 30% of the cases. The age incidence of CLL is around 65 to 70 years of age. Next, we come to the clinical features of CLL. In the clinical features, 25% of the cases are asymptomatic and are discovered in the routine examination. There can be painless lymphadenopathy that we are going to observe. Infections can be there due to the suppression of the immunoglobulins, bacterial pneumonias, and herpes virus infection is seen. So there can be suppression of the immunoglobulins leading to the infections, bacterial pneumonias, and herpes virus infection. The symptoms can be there due to the bone marrow failure, which includes anemia, thrombocytopenia. There can be hepatosplenomegaly, which includes skin, and it also includes skin infiltration with nodules and diffuse erythematous infiltration. So there can be asymptomatic cases that are around 25% of the cases. There can be painless lymphadenopathy. Infections can be seen due to suppression of the immunoglobulins, bacterial pneumonia, and herpes virus infection. The symptoms of the bone marrow failure can be there, which lead to the development of anemia and thrombocytopenia. The patient can also complain of hepatosplenomegaly. There will be infiltration with nodules or diffused erythematous infiltration. Now, what are the investigations that could be done in case of CLL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia? In the investigations, we have to check for the peripheral blood film. The peripheral blood film, which includes lymphocytosis with or without anemia or thrombocytopenia. There will be liver and renal biochemistry that could be done. Usually it is normal and hyperuricemia with raised lactate dehydrogenase and hypogammaglobulinemia. The bone marrow aspirate can be done, which will show lymphocytic infiltration, and there will be abdominal CT that could be done for lymphadenopathy and splenomegaly. So in the investigation, we can check for peripheral blood film, liver and renal biochemistry, bone marrow aspirate, and abdominal CT. Now there are certain clinical staging of the CLL. In the CLL, we have 0 to 4 stage. In stage 0, there will be only lymphocytosis. Lymphocytosis only in 0's phase. In stage 1, there will be lymphocytosis plus lymphadenopathy. In stage 2, there will be lymphocytosis plus splenomegaly or hepatomegaly. In stage 3, there will be lymphocytosis plus anemia, where the hemoglobin is less than 11 gram per dl. In the stage 4, there will be lymphocytosis plus thrombocytopenia, where the platelet is less than 1 lakh per cubic millimeter of blood. Now the management. The management of the CLL includes the CHOP regime, C-H-O-P, CHOP regime, that is of 3 weekly, that we are giving cyclophosphamide, vincristine, doxorubicin, and prednisolone. And the other management includes the bone marrow transplantation. Next, we come to another important type of leukemia, that is hairy cell leukemia. Sometimes you get a short note on this particular topic. What is hairy cell leukemia? It is a tumor of small lymphocytes with oval nuclei. So tumor of the small lymphocytes with the oval nuclei and abundant cytoplasm. So in hairy cell leukemia, there is small lymphocyte with oval nuclei and there is abundant cytoplasm and distinctive membrane projection. So we have hair-like projection that we are going to see. In the lymphoproliferative, it is a lymphoproliferative B cell disorder. So in this particular disorder, there is a lymphoproliferation of the cells of the B cells. Age incidence for hairy cell leukemia is around 50 years and male is to female ratio is 6:1. So it is more common among the males. The symptoms of the hairy cell leukemia includes the general ill health with recurrent infections. Splenomegaly occurs in around 90% of the cases and there is lymph node enlargement is unusual. So we will get ill health with recurrent infections and splenomegaly that you are going to see in 90% of the cases. Now, there are some investigations that could be done for diagnosis of hairy cell leukemia. It includes severe neutropenia. So in case of hairy cell leukemia, there will be severe neutropenia in the patient. There will be monocytopenia. The characteristic hairy cell in the bone and blood and bone marrow will be seen. These are typical. You are going to see hairy cells in the blood and the bone marrow. And these cells have usually B lymphocyte immunotype, but these are characteristically expressed at CD25 and CD103. So the hairy cell will be expressed at CD25 and CD103. The treatment of hairy cell leukemia includes splenectomy. So the enlarged part of the spleen has to be removed and nucleosides, carbamide and deoxycorphomycin is usually given. So splenectomy and nucleoside carbamide and deoxycorphomycin is given in such case. So this is all about the leukemia, acute and chronic leukemia. So in the next lecture, we are going to start with a new topic, lymphoma. So I hope you have understood this session properly. You can refer my e-notes that I have uploaded on the portal for more reference. You can also refer your book for more details. So this session is powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you have understood the session properly. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box and I'll try to resolve it. So this was all for today. Thank you very much. We will be meeting in the next lecture with a new topic.